Your gun safe might look like a vault full of treasures right now, but here's the cold, hard truth. A bunch of the guns sleeping in there are bleeding value way faster than most owners realize. Over the last 12 months alone, some extremely respected models have watched their resale prices absolutely crater. And I'm not talking about a gentle 5 to 10% correction. We're talking brutal drops of 30, 40, and in some cases even 60% off what people thought they'd get back. Firearms that used to be the hottest thing on the market, the ones with insane hype and months-long waiting lists, are now sitting untouched on pawn shop shelves and lingering forever in online classifieds. For a ton of shooters, this has been a serious reality check. Just because something is the flavor of the month doesn't mean it's going to hold a dime of its worth down the road. The gun market moves fast, trends flip overnight, new competition shows up, and that can't-lose investment you made can turn into a painful lesson real quick. That's exactly why today we're counting down 10 real-world examples of guns that took a massive value nosedive between 2024 and 2025. These aren't weird one-off prototypes or sketchy gray market imports nobody's ever heard of. Many of them are straight-up legendary names in the gun community, models that built die-hard cults around them. Yet the cold resale numbers don't care about feelings, and they're telling a completely different story today. So buckle up, because some of these drops shocked even the old-school collectors when the data rolled in. And if you've got one of these in the safe, you might be looking at a few $100 less than you figured. Kicking the list off is the Sig Sauer P250. When this pistol dropped back in 2007, it honestly felt like Sig was showing us the future of handguns. Instead of the traditional serialized frame, they made the fire control unit the actual serialized part, so you could pop that chassis into all kinds of different grip sizes, calibers, and slide lengths whenever you wanted. The pitch was beautiful. Buy one core pistol and turn it from a full-size .40 duty gun into a compact 9mm carry piece, or even a subcompact .45, without ever filling out another 4473. At an original street price hovering right around $600, the gun world lost its mind for a minute. But once people actually started shooting them, the excitement cooled off fast. The P250 is pure double action only, and we're talking a long, heavy, rolling revolver-style trigger pull on every single shot. A few traditionalists loved it, but most shooters coming from crisp striker-fire Glocks or MMPS thought it felt ancient. Then in 2014, Sig dropped the P320. Same modular concept, but with a sweet, short striker trigger everyone actually wanted. Overnight, the P250 became the red-headed stepchild of the lineup, and sales flatlined. Jump to 2024, and a clean-used P250 with box and extra mags could still pull 450 to 500 pretty easily. By the middle of 2025, those same guns were struggling to hit 325, often lower, and plenty just sat there with no takers. That's about a 40% haircut in a single year. I've put thousands of rounds through P250s myself, and I'll tell you straight, they're accurate, utterly reliable, and the modularity works exactly as advertised. But the market has spoken loud and clear. Anyone who wants a modular SIG just buys a P320 now, and people hunting for a budget SIG are grabbing surplus P226S or P229S instead. There's basically zero aftermarket, zero collector interest, and almost no organic demand left. It's a dirt cheap ticket into a real Sig Sauer centerfire pistol these days. But if resale value matters to you, the P250 is absolutely not the horse to back. Next on the hit list is the Daniel Defense DDM 4V7, a rifle that for years wore the crown as the gold standard of out-of-the-box AR-15s. Daniel Defense made its name building bomb-proof gear, and the V7 was the poster child. Cold hammer-forged chrome line barrel, slick MLOK handguard, and hand-tuned mil-spec guts that just refuse to choke no matter how hard you run them. This was the rifle you grabbed when you wanted true premium quality without piecing together a custom build. Back during the crazy panic buying wave from 2019 through 2021, these things were straight-up unicorns. Brand new V7s were routinely going for $1,800 to $2,000, and when things got really wild, some shops were asking even more and still selling out in hours. Fast forward to 2025, and the script has completely flipped. You can now walk into almost any store or scroll any major retailer and pick up a brand new DDM 4V7 for $1,250 to $1,300 as the normal everyday price. That's a 30 to 35% gut punch off the peak, and the rifle itself hasn't changed one bit. It's pure market forces at work. Companies like BCM, Aero Precision, and even Palmetto State Armory are pumping out free-floated, accurate, soft-shooting ARs with upgraded triggers for well under $1,000. On top of that, the market is absolutely swimming in ARs after years of everyone panic buying 2 or 3 extra rifles they didn't need. The political heat died down, the urgency vanished, and suddenly there are way more rifles than buyers. Make no mistake, the V7 is still an absolute beast. I've dumped thousands of rounds through mine with zero malfunctions. The recoil is buttery, and it'll shoot circles around most budget builds. If you bought one to shoot forever, you still got an incredible rifle. But if you were banking on it going up in value, the used market just sent a loud and clear message. Those days are done. Unless something major kicks off another buying frenzy, expect these to hang out in the $1,200 neighborhood for a long time. Phenomenal shooter, terrible investment. Coming up next is the FN FNS-9. When FN Herstal launched this striker-fire duty pistol back in 2011, they were swinging for the fences, trying to steal some of Glock and Smith & Wesson's thunder. The same company that builds the M249 and the SCAR rolled out a clean polymer frame 9mm with fully ambidextrous controls and 17 rounds flush fit. On paper, it looked like a legit contender. In the real world, it just never caught fire. The trigger felt a bit mushy, the reset was meh, and the grip angle was just different enough to mess with people who'd been running Glocks or MMPS for years. The killer, though, was the aftermarket or lack of it. Glock guys can trip over holsters and parts walking into any gun shop. FNS. 9 owners were stuck scrounging the internet for whatever scraps they could find. That alone kept most agencies and a lot of civilians away. Original retail sat right around $550 to $600, putting it head-to-head with proven warhorses like the Glock 17 and the M and P9. Tough hill to climb. Now, in 2025, Clean Police trade-in FNS-9s with factory night sights and 3 mags are going for $300 to $350 all day long. And those are guns with nothing more than honest holster wear. That's a straight 50% haircut off original MSRP. I've shot a bunch of them, and I'll be honest, they're boringly reliable, plenty accurate for defense work, and once you adjust to the ergos, they feel fine. But in a world where Glock is still king, the P320 is on fire, and the M&P 2.0 breathed new life into Smith's lineup. The FNS 9 never found its tribe. Right now, it's one of the smartest budget duty pistol buys on the planet. But when it comes to holding value or ever being collectible, it's already been sentenced to the bargain bin for life. Sliding into the next spot, we have to talk about the Smith & Wesson MMP Shield, the little single stack that basically invented the modern concealed carry boom. When it landed in 2012, it was a total game changer. Back then, your choices were either chunky double-stack 9s that printed like a brick or pocket point 380s that barely hit hard enough to poke holes in paper. The Shield showed up slim as a pancake, chambered in real 9mm, rocking 7 or 8 in the mag, and somehow still shot like a grown-up duty gun. It was perfection in a whole generation of carriers have been begging for. For years, it owned the market so hard that pretty much every single gun shop in the country had an entire end-cap shrine dedicated to shields. Street price started right around $400, and by 2016, S&W had already moved over 1 million of them. Then Sig dropped the P365 in 2018, and everything changed overnight. All of a sudden, you could get 10, 12, even 15 rounds in the exact same size package. Springfield answered with the Hellcat, Ruger fired back with the Max 9, and Glock finally got in the game with the 43X and 48. Just like that, the original Shield went from king of the hill to yesterday's newspaper. It's still stupid, reliable, and plenty accurate, but the buying public moved on to the high-cap Wonder 9s. By 2025, clean first-gen Shields are routinely moving for $250 to $300 on the used racks. That is solid 40% off what most folks paid just a few years back. I've carried one for years and beaten the snot out of it. The trigger is fine, recoil is super manageable, and it'll save your life without complaint. But the resale numbers don't lie, and they're not coming back up. The silver lining? If you're a new shooter looking for a proven, American-made carry gun on a budget, this is one of the best deals going right now. Under $3 gets you into a battle-tested 9mm with parts everywhere. Just don't kid yourself into thinking it's ever turns into a collector piece. Next up is a legend that truly needs no introduction, the Mossberg 500. This pump-action shotgun has been America's workhorse since 1961. You've seen it slung in duck blinds, riding shotgun on police cruisers, locked and loaded at military checkpoints, and standing guard in millions of bedrooms across the country. Simple, tough, and dead nuts reliable, dual action bars, top tank safety that works for lefties and righties, and you can swap barrels, stocks, or mag tubes in your garage with nothing more than basic hand tools. Mossberg has cranked out an absurd number of these things. Best guesses put the total 500 series production north of 12 million and still climbing. It's always been priced like the blue-collar hero it is. Back in the 90s, you could grab one new for under 200. By the mid-2010s, they were running 350 to 400 depending on configuration. Fast forward to 2025, and the used market is a bloodbath. Clean, lightly used Mossberg 500s, whether they're Woodstock bird guns or short-barrel home defense models, are routinely trading between $225 and $275. That's 30 to 40% off what brand new ones cost just a couple years ago. And no, it's not because the gun suddenly got worse. It's still the same tank that'll eat the cheapest bulk pack shells, live in the mud, get dragged through salt water, and keep on chugging for generations. The problem is pure oversupply. There are literally millions of them out there. Every pawn shop and gun store has a stack of them in the corner, and Mossberg is still spitting out brand new ones every single day. Buyers know they'll never be hard to find, so prices stay crushed. I've abused 500s for decades, and I'll tell you flat out, it ain't fancy, it ain't as silky as a Benelli or pretty as a Browning, but it will outlive us all. If you need an affordable, do-everything shotgun that simply will not quit, it's still top of the heap. But if you're hoping it turns into an investment that climbs in value someday, forget it. The supply is basically infinite and it's never going away. Next up is a rifle that has fallen harder than almost anything else in the budget bolt-action world, the Remington 783. Launched back in 2013, this was Big Green's direct swing at the red-hot entry-level hunting rifle segment. Savage already owned it with the Axis, Ruger was killing it with the American, and Mossberg had the Patriot. Remington needed something that could fight in that sub-$400 sandbox, so they rolled out the 783. It came with a pillar-bedded synthetic stock, a fully free-floated barrel, and the adjustable crossfire trigger, and a lot of SKUs even included a factory-mounted 3-9X scope, so you could literally buy it, sight it in, and go kill deer the same weekend. Out of the box, accuracy was honestly shocking for the price. Plenty of us, myself included, were printing legit sub-MOA groups at 100 yards with regular old factory hunting loads. It flat out worked and put meat on the ground. New. They listed around 450, but almost every store sold them for $380 to $399. It moved units like crazy in farm and ranch country. Fast forward to 2025, and the used market is brutal. Clean 783s are everywhere for $250 or less, sometimes way less. That's a 35 to 45% beating from what original buyers paid. Performance isn't the problem. The rifle still shoots straight and goes bang every time. The issue is that Savage keeps making the Axis II better, Ruger won't stop improving the American, and Tikka's budget T3X line is now close enough in price that a lot of hunters just stretch a little further. The 783 is solid but boring, and boring doesn't move the needle in the used rack. Bright side? If you're a hunter on a real budget, you can now get a scoped, accurate centerfire bolt gun for under $3. Downside, if you thought this was going to be an investment, the 783 is a textbook value destroyer. Now let's talk about a pistol that came out swinging but never quite landed the knockout. the Beretta PX-4 Storm. Dropped in 2004, this was Beretta's attempt to give the world a modern polymer duty gun that wasn't just another 92 FS clone. They ditched the iconic open slide for a fully enclosed one and added a rotating barrel lockup, something you basically never saw in service-size handguns. The whole idea was that the barrel rotation would soak up recoil differently, turning the normal rearward punch into a twist that tames muzzle flip. And you know what? It actually works, especially in 9mm. Follow-up shots are stupid fast, and the gun stays ridiculously flat. The lineup had full-size, compact, and subcompact versions in 9mm, .40 S&W, and .45 ACP. A few agencies picked it up, and it built a small but passionate cult following. Original MSRP was roughly $650 to $700, and for a long time it held decent value because it was different and Beretta fans stayed loyal. But it never even sniffed Glock-level market share. By 2025, excellent condition used PX-4S are trading between $425 and $475 all day long, with beaters going even cheaper. That's about a 30% haircut from launch pricing. The writing's on the wall. Striker-fired guns completely own the duty and carry world now, and hammer-fire designs like the PX-4 are stuck in an ever-shrinking corner. Aftermarket support is still thin compared to the endless sea of Glock, SIG, and S&W parts, so most buyers just look elsewhere. I've put thousands of rounds through PX-4S, especially the Langdon Tune compacts, and they're buttery smooth, stone axe reliable, and that rotating barrel absolutely shines with plus P defensive loads. If you want something that stands out from the striker crowd and love Real Beretta craftsmanship, the PX-4 at today's prices is low-key one of the best-kept secrets in the used market. But as an investment, unless Beretta pulls the plug tomorrow and nostalgia kicks in 20 years from now, don't expect these numbers to ever climb again. Coming in hot is another hammer-fire gem that just couldn't keep up with the times, the CZ-P-07. Launched back in 2009, this was CZ's big move to take their legendary Omega trigger system from the all-metal CZ-75 family and stuff it into a lightweight polymer duty gun. The coolest part? You could run it either with a decocker for classic DA/SA, carry, or flip in the manual safety parts, and rock it cocked and locked like a 1911. Classic CZ ergos, super low-bore axis, deep grip that points like it's reading your mind, 15+1 in 9mm or 12+1 in .40. Street price at release was right around $500 to $525, which put it square against every other service pistol on the planet. Early guns had a couple teething problems with finish wear and picky mags, but by 2014 CZ rolled out the refreshed version and all that drama disappeared. Fast forward to 2025 and clean used P-07S are moving for $375 to $425 pretty much everywhere. That's a 20 to 30% haircut off original street price. And it's got nothing to do with the gun being bad. These things are tanks. I've shot mine in IDPA for years, thousands and thousands of rounds, and the polished DA/SA trigger is still ranks among the sweetest in any polymer gun ever made. It's accurate, soft shooting, and just refuses to break. Problem is, CZ themselves started shoving the striker-fired P10 series down everyone's throat, and that stole most of the oxygen. Meanwhile, Glock, SIG, and Walther kept eating the rest of the market. The P-07 still has its die-hard fans, but it's living in the shadow now. At today's prices, it's honestly one of the best shooting bargains in the used case. But if you're hoping resale climbs back up, you're going to be waiting a long time unless they discontinue it tomorrow. Rounding third and heading toward the finish line, we've got the Ruger SR 1911. When Ruger dropped this thing in 2011, it caught a lot of 1911 snobs completely off guard. Everybody knew Ruger for wheel guns, plinkers, and tough-as-nails rifles. But a proper all-steel government 1911? Nobody saw it coming. And yet here it was, stainless frame and slide, Novak-style sights, oversized beaver tail, and a crisp Series 70 trigger with zero creep. Started in .45 ACP and later added 10mm for the big bore crowd. MSRP was $799, but real-world price was usually right around $750. For Made in USA stainless 1911, that was an absolute steal next to Kimber, Colt, or Springfield options that cost way more. Out of the box, they shot straight, ran like sewing machines, and quickly earned a reputation as the blue-collar workhorse of the 1911 world. Jump to 2025, and clean used SR 1911s are trading between $575 and $625 pretty much nationwide. That a 15 to 20% drop from where they launched, not the bloodbath some polymer guns took, but still a solid punch in the wallet. Reason is simple. The 1911 market is absolutely flooded. You've got dozens of companies fighting over the same slice of pie, and a flood of imported 1911s from Turkey, the Philippines, and elsewhere are undercutting American-made pricing hard. The SR 1911 is still a fantastic shooter, tough, accurate, and a joy to carry to the range, but it's not rare, not limited, and definitely not collectible in standard trim. Unless you snagged one of the very early serial numbers or a rare variant, don't expect these to ever be worth more than you paid. Solid gun, modest resale. And finally, sliding into the top spot of guns that lost the most swagger is the one that used to feel like the ultimate flex, the FNX 45 Tactical. When FN America unleashed this beast back in 2012, it was basically every mall ninja and serious operator's dream sheet turned into metal and polymer. Start with the already solid FNX platform, polymer frame, stainless slide, buttery DA/SA trigger. Then crank it to 11. Factory milled for red dots, suppressor height tritium night sights, threaded barrel, and a staggering 15+1 rounds of .45 ACP in the mag. At the time, there was literally nothing else on the planet that gave you that full tactical package straight from the factory. MSRP floated between $1,100 and $1,300 depending on color and SKU, and people lined up thinking they were buying the in-game .45 that would only go up in value. On the range, it delivered in spades. Ridiculously soft shooting for a 45, ran 230 grain subsonics through a cam like it was bored, co-witnessed perfectly, and you could hammer splits that felt more like a race-tuned 9mm while still hitting with that big .45 thump we all love. I've run mine suppressed with a dot for years, and it is an absolute riot. The recoil is just a lazy push that barely moves, and it eats every kind of ammo I've ever fed it. But here's where 2025 hits hard. Clean, excellent condition, used FNX. 45 tacticals with a factory case. All the plates and extra mags are now routinely selling for $950 to $1,050 pretty much everywhere. That's a very real 20 to 25% haircut off original MSRP. For a flagship, high-end pistol, it's not a total collapse, but it still stings when so many buyers were convinced the feature set would make it bulletproof forever. Truth is, the market moved on. 9mm Wonder pistols are now shipping optics-ready, suppressor-ready, with 17 to 24 round mags for half the price and a third of the ammo cost. Suddenly, that big, beautiful .45 battleship doesn't look quite as futuristic when a $550 to $650 striker gun checks almost every box and leaves you money for a case of ammo and a tax stamp. The FNX 45 Tactical is still one of the most capable, softest shooting, do-it-all .45s ever made. And if you love big bore ballistics and want the ultimate cam-ready setup, it's honestly never been a better buy. But if you were banking on it being the one handgun that would hold or climb in value forever, sorry brother, even the king of tactical .45s just proved it's not immune to the same depreciation every other non-collectible modern gun is facing right now. Wrapping this countdown up, the lesson is crystal clear. Hype doesn't pay the bills, and even the best performing guns can tank 30 to 60% the minute the market moves on. P250 got murdered by the P320. DDM-4 V7 drowned in cheap ARs, FNS. 9 lost the aftermarket war. Original Shield got smoked by high-cap micros. Mossberg 500 is buried under 12 million siblings. Remington 783 can't stand out. PX4 and P07 are hammer-fired relics in striker world. SR 1911 swims in a flooded 1911C, and even the King FNX 45 Tactical is down 25%, because everyone wants cheaper, higher cap 9mm now. Every single gun on this list is still 100% reliable and capable. They'll protect your house or fill your freezer just fine. But if you bought any of them thinking this one will only go up, the market just handed you the reality check. Guns are tools first, investments second. Buy what you love to shoot and what fits your mission, not what's trending. Because today's must-have is tomorrow's $250 pawn shop special. Drop a like if this saved you some cash. Subscribe for more no BS market breakdowns. Tell me in the comments which one of these you own and how bad it hurts right now. Stay safe, train hard, and we'll catch you on the next one.